Welcome to News 9 Mediaverse, and you are watching On Point with me. Manipur CM Biren Singh made a very important statement. He announced that the Manipur government will identify and deport all those who arrived in the state before 1961, irrespective of their caste and community. He said this measure is needed to safeguard the ethnic communities of Manipur and, yes, to protect the demography. After the violence that has been plaguing the state since May 2023, Singh also emphasized that the importance of ending the FMR and tackling the internal security and issues of demography. He added that ending the FMR will also put an end to illegal immigration, curb drugs and weapon trafficking, which is hurting Manipur. Now, Home Minister Amit Shah has also announced that CAA rules will be in place before the Lok Sabha elections. Now, there are two issues. Is it feasible? And the second is, will the northeastern states, mainly Mizoram and Nagaland, have a different view as they share an ethnic bond, and how will they react to it? But it's not a state issue, it's a national issue. But before I go any further, let me play out the bite of the Chief Minister on this.
Now, you are the owner now. Pension tolerance. FMR Catalani. Then, in an permit key, page year 1961 key, Matungula Kosi, Kanto Kanekwe, irrespective of caste and community, deported. Yanado Dinokoi life.
Now, I'm joined by Dr. Thangulao Haikip, Assistant Professor, Center for the Study of Law and Governance, JNU, and also by Group Captain Biren Sharma, spokesperson of Delhi Maitri Coordinating Committee, and our input editor Brijesh Pandey. But let me just go across to first Nandakumar Sharma. Sir, is it feasible on ground? Can it be done? 61, do we have that data in dossier?
Yeah, Kartikeya, it will be difficult to identify, but we have to start. And in fact, a year back or so, the identification process had been started, and there were about 4,000, in my opinion, if my memory serves correct, then about 4,000 have been identified, and thereafter some problems arises, and the exercise has been off. And in fact, this decision for identifying people who have entered into India or to the state of Manipur in 1961 had been discussed after, have been passed after a cabinet decision in 2022. So there was again a debate among the ruling parties and opposition. In fact, people have thought the base year should have been 1951. However, the base year has become 1961, and though it will be a difficult task, we have to do it for the security of the nation. And it is not only for Manipur, it is security of the India, and the citizenship is for all India. We have as part 2 in Indian Constitution, Article 5 defines citizenship, and also we have Citizenship Act 1955, which was amended a little bit as a CAA recently in 2019. All this we have to follow, irrespective of the caste and community and creed. So we have to do it, though it is a difficult task. Kartikeya.
Okay, Mr. Haukip, the debate is divided into 3 parts: feasibility, view, and consequence. So right now I'm talking about feasibility. Do you think it's feasible? 61 cutoff date?
Kartikeya, it's a very difficult task, but let me begin by saying or analyzing the kind of mentality that we have in the Northeast as a whole, and Manipur in particular. So this region is particularly beset with a kind of syndrome called Mayflower mentality. You have this hypocritical mindset of being hostile towards migrants, whether it may be internal migrants or whether it may be, infiltrators also. So you're forgetting that many generations ago, you have been a migrant to this region. If you trace the history of many communities, they will trace back to China, Thailand, to many other parts of Southeast Asia and East Asia as their origin. So forgetting this, we are very hostile to people who are coming lately to this region. Even internal migrants like from Bihar, from Bengal, from other places who are coming to Manipur as manual laborers. So, coming to this again, the reason and Manipur in particular has been beset with this problem in the last few decades. So, coming to the implementability of the 1961 census or electoral roll, I I don't know about whether this record would be feasible for Imphal, because Imphal is a small valley of about 650 square miles where administration has been quite functioning for the last many decades. But what about the hill areas of Manipur? Was there any proper census enumerations done from 1951 or in 1961? So there is no clarity about this. And the concept is that many of the hill people who are very mobile, who have jhum cultivation, might have been left out in this 1951 or 61 census because they have to be in their jhum cultivation for the livelihood, and they may miss out the electoral enumerations or the census enumerations. So these are the concerns that are beset with tribal populations. And if you are going to implement this kind of uh, 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 policies, then it has to start with the head of state or the head of the government. There are allegations that our chief minister, Biren Singh, is also from Kachar, right? He has to show his family tree. There should be evidence that he is a Manipuri living in Manipur since independence. So, starting from the chief minister, the cabinet ministers, then they have to clearly show that they are a Manipuri. Then it has to be, implemented to the general masses. There are many reports that in Jirbam district, which is bordering Silchar, there is a locality called Landai Kuno, which is formed by migrants from Tripura, Kachar, and Sylhet. So start the NRC from there, or start deporting those people in in Chekod, in Imphal. You look for them. In Sangai Paru, you can find there are allegations that there are many Burmese from coming from Myanmar who are of Manipuri descent. So look there, and then after Imphal Valley has been cleansed of all illegal immigrants, then we can come to other hill areas. We will have the same problem, but since the chief minister is keen on doing this, let him start with
Mr.
the
Haukip,
Imphal
same
Valley.
problem or a bigger problem? Same problem or a bigger problem? Because the issue is that the movement in hill areas have been undocumented, which is a fact. And as you have been telling us, it's very difficult to monitor hill areas. So I think it's far more tougher in hill areas than the valley. Valley mein to it's very easy to find people. But what do you do in hill areas? That has been unaccounted, isn't it, Brijesh?
And most importantly, what happened to NRC in Assam? Mr. Hajela, who turned out to be started with fetted out so much, turned out to be a villain of the highest order. How exactly are you going to implement it? And the dominant narrative is, and the view is, of course, the launch of it is, or how it is, if it is implemented fairly, is going to be a Herculean task on the part of the government. Because there is a lack of trust, there is a fight between the two ethnicity, so there is always this fear among the hill tribe or the people in the valley that that people can, or the officers can, act against them without having proper documentation or not taking into all factors responsible.
But Mr. Sharma, there is one issue which I keep coming back to, which is demographic change. I think demographic change has happened in Manipur. A lot of people won't admit that in Assam, but it became an issue. It led to creation of ASU. It led to the most violent agitation in history of Northeast. One of the rise of the Assamese agitation was just not based on the issue of governance. It was based on the issue of demography. So even in context of Manipur, we cannot discount demography. It's not the cool thing to say that, it's a majority view. But the fact is, it should count and it must count.
Yes, I do agree. There is a demographic change, and that is one of the most concerned topic of the day, and we must deal with, and people we should discuss, and we should find out a solution. Now, at present, the problem in Manipur is to solve the crisis, and also the valley area and hill area have been defined very narrowly in whatever discussion we have in your channel for the past 7 to 8 months. There is a gazette number 56/6/62. This is passed in 1962, and it is signed by B.I. Sharma, Under Secretary. It clearly defines the valley and the hill area. Valley area consists of Imphal West, Imphal East, Thoubal, Bishnupur, Churchanpur, Jiribam, Tengnopal, Sardar Hills Development Block in the Mau subdivision. And the hill area comprises only 3 areas, that is Tamenlong, Ukhrul, and the Mau Sardar Hills, excluding the Sardar Hill Development Block. So if we go by this this gazette, the hill area is only 3 areas, that is Tamenlong, Ukhrul, and the Mau Sardar division, excluding the hills development area block. So it's going to be a Herculean task to identify the say illegal immigrants or people who have come after 1961. But how difficult it is, we have to do it. We have to start it. We cannot stop, or we cannot. We should not start any job thinking that it is difficult. So we have to start somewhere. We start, then we'll come across all the difficulties, and we will resolve the problems. And the demographic changes. As of now, we can't do anything, but we have to restrict, and we have to save this minority community might. Otherwise, it will be lost after, say, 50 or 60 years. So we should think about saving this micro community.
You have a point, Mr. Haukip. You are a sociologist, you are a historian, you are an academician more than anything. You are an academician. Don't you think that the issue of demography in post-colonial nations have been the heart of social and ethnic conflicts, and demographic movement and the sense of loss of majority by a demography has unleashed tensions throughout the world? Manipur is not an exception. Why would any majority would like to become a minority? Why would any nationality, sir, in your own words, would like to become an ethnicity? The movement of ethnicities is towards nationality, and Manipur is in such a unique situation where a state whose identity is also very directly linked with the Meitei identity is feeling like a minority.
No, let me first point out, the kind of demographic change that has been, alleged against a certain minority community in Manipur. Take, for instance, we have pointed out in 110 years, if you look into the census of 1901 or 1911, to 2011, the kind of demographic change that, or the increase of population of the Kuki-Chin groups has not been much. For instance, there is in 110 years, there is an increase of hardly 1.7% in more than a century. So is there a kind of a huge demographic change for this alleged community? So we have to look into the facts rather than all these allegations. And if you point out, as Mr. Sharma has pointed out, if you are going to look into the demography of Manipur, whether it's a hill district or whether it's in the valley, if you go back to 150 years ago till the 1890s, most of the people where Kuki lives today, the Churchanpur district, Khirzor, Chandel, and Tengnopal, these are terra incognita of the Kuki-Chins. They were not a part of Manipur. It was only in the 1890s that these territories, the southern boundary between Manipur and Chin Hills, has been demarcated. And before that, you can say that these people are Myanmaris, or these people are people of nowhere. So we have to look into. We can't just take one notification and say that definitely this is a part of hills and plains. For instance, the Manipur starts with 1972, and if you look into the presidential order of those times, even Langol Hills in the heart of Imphal is a part of Senapati district. So this kind of extension of the hill areas has also been happening in the last few decades. So we have to look into all these realities. We can't just go into one notification and say that these are the hill areas, these are the plain areas, right? So you have the hill areas committee to decide or to look into the welfare of the hill people. So unless these mechanisms are working, unless you are discussing with the Hill Areas committees along with the cabinet ministers, trying to solve this problem, only allegations, only this kind of arguments would only bring problem rather than solve things in
Okay,
Manipur.
okay. But Brijesh, don't you think that there's a register which is required? Because even if you look at the Assam issue, ultimately demographic change has taken place. All said and done, the demography of Assam has changed. Speak to any Assamese, indigenous, he says, this has happened under the eyes of the multiple governments. We have become minorities in our own land. Even in context of Manipur, it's because of the ethnic issues. Now, even Tripura has faced that pressure of migration from poor Bangladeshis. Is it this lack of enforcement at the level of border that is creating one problem after another in Northeast India?
Well, that as well as, the lack of faith in the government. What has happened in Assam also is that, of the many camps which you have created for illegal refugees or refugees in that area, majority of them have been living there for more than 100 years. So how can you just one day say that, that they have not been part of Assam or like, they are the refugees? When you talk of the cutoff date, you also have to factor in that many could be, say for example in Delhi, which is a much more advanced area. You have hundreds of Bangladeshis who could be having your Aadhaar card, PAN card, working as maids in various residential colonies. But if you look back to the situation in Manipur, you also have to justify or juxtapose percentage of growth in population along with the change in demography. How big has the demographic change been? Somebody has to come
I
in
think that's
and
an important
tell us
point.
exactly
Mr.
how much
Sharma,
has changed.
Mr. Sharma, how big has been the demographic change?
Yeah, I would like to comment on that.
That's
Thanks,
how
for
big is the
bringing this.
demographic change?
Yeah.
Let's get
See,
down to the concrete
yeah.
part.
Yeah, as per census 1951, the total population of Kuki is 29,308. It is available in net. It's a Government of India census report, and the number of villages increased by the Kuki community is about 1,750. Whereas combine all other communities living the Kukis, the number of villages increase is 181. So there is exponential difference. And from 29,000, the 2011 census says Kuki population around say about 5.5 lakhs. So 29,000 to 5.5 lakhs is the increase from 1951. And whereas other communities, the number of villages increases 181, all communities including, and only Kuki communities, approximately 1,750 villages have been increased. So these are the data which is available already in the internet, and many people have done the research. This is the amount of demographic change, which is very surprising and very alarming. So this is the concern of our main focus here. And if you see some of the Manipur and the other Tangkhul and Naga villages, the villages in Ukhrul, there 14 villages have been down. And whereas in Jiribam, 23 villages haven't reduced, whereas in Koki-dominated places, it's available in net, they haven't increased exponentially. This is the amount of demographic change happening in Manipur.
Mr. Haukip, I would like you to respond to it, so that we have the other part of the story.
Cookies have this habit of forming small villages. They like to be in smaller villages, forming new villages. But in order to find out the exact increase in population, you have to do the head count. The number of villages doesn't mean that their population will increase. I wonder, I have not the exact data of the Kuki population in 1951, but I would definitely find out. But that, reducing the Kukis to a population of 29,000, go back to 70 years. In 1901, their population was already, crossing that in 1911. So how can the population be stagnant for over 70 years with that particular number? So that has to be examined. I just want to say that the number of villages doesn't mean that there is an increase in the number of population. The Nagas live in larger villages. The valley dwellers are mostly in towns. So these factors has to be brought in.
Okay.
Just because there is an increase in number of villages doesn't mean that there is a substantial increase in the number of populations and there are illegal immigrants. Definitely, there can be a cases of people moving in and moving out, as the census of 1901 would indicate. It clearly says that there are many people who have moved out from Manipur into Naga Hills, into Kachar, into other places. So mobility in these geographical spaces is a kind of historical reality as shown in 100 years of census data. So people move out from Manipur, people also come to into Manipur. This is a historical fact. And if you are so hard on all this kind of mobility,
What is the head count?
then,
Interesting to
I
know.
think,
You see,
we are wrong-
I can, okay, you have made your point. I can only say is that there is, there should not be any resistance when it comes to head counts. CA rules are also going to be in place. NRC is also going to be in place. There has to be, India is for Indians. So, I think I as a journalist that does not see it from the community's point of view. I don't even see it from the point of view of the religion. But yes, the anxiety of communities cannot be discounted. I always say, just being majority does not make you majoritarian. Majoritarianism and a majority are two different things. And if there is an anxiety in a majority community, it should be addressed. If the anxiety of the minorities can be addressed, anxiety of the majority must be addressed. So yes, 61 cutoff date is a very fine idea. How it's going to be done? It's the administrative call. It's a tough call. How do you find where is the gazette? Who has come from where? That's for the administration to see. But I think really what is important is that the sort of proper peace should return to Manipur. When I say proper peace, this physical and mental demarcation that has taken place between Kukis and Maitis must come to an end. There has to be some sort of a process of healing. It should be there, and that is all I have to say at the end. That peace does not mean that the guns are not booming. Peace means when two hearts can meet. Thank you.
There's a new video around what deepfake can do.
We had seen a trailer of this a few days back.
Rulers should not be only on the platform.
We'll have to wait and see how those play out.
Hindenburg's report cannot be taken as gospel of truth.